Hey, good morning, everybody. Hope you all had a nice Thanksgiving. Can someone just leave a comment? Let me know that you can hear me. Want to make sure that you can hear me before we get going so that we're not wasting any time. Anybody, can you just leave a quick comment? Sounds good. Thanks, George. All right, sorry. I had to check my phone real quick. That's what you do with downtime, right? You check your phone. All right. Cool, right, sweet. We can get going here. Obviously, you have a shortened session today. SPX trading 68.35, 68.36 right now. Looking at the market trend model, everything looks fine here. Thing that we'll get into the pre-market prep, right? An important part of that is, so on an intraday time frame, right, looks fine. Seeing a little bit of filter tick buying coming in. Really not a ton right now, and that probably makes a lot of sense because, holiday shortened session, probably not going to be a lot of volume in the market today. So potential for a lot of ping pong action. But, the thing to keep in mind is the last 3 days, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, it'll be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like significant buying all 3 days. And right, our short-term signal generally lasts 3 to 5 days. So we're kind of getting to the, middle to longer point of that time frame. So a bit of consolidation or pullback makes a lot of sense here, right? We've had a heck of a bounce from where we were, SPX, right? I mean, from the bottom, we've literally gone straight up, 5%. Just looking at the retracements, we just blew through the 50% retrace. So, I mean, we've had a heck of a move higher here. Not time to get FOMO. Getting long at this specific point. We want to see some kind of consolidation action come into the market. So, right, understanding there's a lot of people on here with different time frames, short term, intraday, longer term. We're going to hit on all those time frames, but kind of a swing trading environment, right? Kind of the other thing we focus on aside from 0DTE. Heck of a move, right? All of our mechanical strategies, the P Transit plus GEX strategy and the wheel strategy, there's a gate in that system based off the market trend model, right? Which I just call bullish momentum signal, just for people that aren't super familiar with it. That kind of makes it easy for them to grasp. That fired on Tuesday, right? So intraday Tuesday, Wednesday, we were now permitted, and into today, Friday, we're permitted now to be entering new long positions. So just something to keep in mind there, kind of from an overall swing trading point of view, even on a discretionary basis. Let's see. So, hitting on right, going through SPXA, SPXP. And guys, if you're new to this, new to options market analysis, new to Gamma Edge ecosystem, all that good stuff, like feel free to ask questions, right? Holiday shortened day, so I don't mind spending more time on here doing education type stuff as well to the extent you need it. So, if something doesn't make sense, obviously we have a course on the website, which I can show you in a second, 100% free, that gets you up to speed, all that good stuff. So don't be afraid to ask questions. I'm sure someone else out there has it. So starting out with the SPXA complex, right? There's the SPXP, SPXA. Just scrolling through it, right? Everything looks, more or less fine there. Looking at our true zero metric, that looks fine. We were a bit, cognizant of when we started to breach below the true Gamma zero level. Traditionally, that's kind of been just a general pullback. That's kind of the depth of which we see it kind of reside. And right now that's still held true. So yeah, we just want to see spot price remaining up at these levels trending higher. Looking at the delta balance, right? This is just, understanding how folks are positioned out in time, which is a benefit of options markets, right? Is they are inherently forward looking. So, the key takeaway is, from a kind of longer term institutional point of view, the big boys and girls that are participating in the SPXA markets, fairly bullish positioning as of right now. Moving on to SPXP complex. Where'd it go? We're at 35. Yeah. So, all right. So looking at the transition zones, right? 6790 kind of key zone. We can, even say that 6800 is a key zone, 6800 key zone in the 0 DT level as well. So confluence there, just call that the fulcrum in the structure. So we just want to see us remain above 6800. All else equal, right? Massive gamma glob up here. Well, you can just call it a positioning glob up here through 6850. Right, we're going to call that in the 0 DT time frame as well. So, ton of, looking at the distribution and speculation, just a ton of positioning sitting right there. So kind of the key upside level for us right now is this gamma glob from 40 to 50. And then in order to get through that, we really need to see, just a continuation of that large buying step in and help us propel us through that glob of positioning. But right now, everything looks fine. Call dominate above the spot price. So no real complaints there right now. Looking at true zeros again. Right, true zeros more or less is just a kind of just an understanding of like the trend of delta and gamma speculation, absent of spot price, right? Because like from our dashboard point of view or from a lot of traditional metrics, like obviously the Greeks of delta and gamma, those can be influenced by spot price, but we've created a price invariant calculation that helps us to give us a better sense of kind of what that trend of positioning is doing without the influence of spot price. So, all of that to say, we're starting to trend higher again. Spot prices above those two levels. So that is a good sign to see. We could even say, right, it's a little bit extended from those metrics right now. So maybe again, kind of another confluence factors of wanting to see a bit of consolidation there, right? So running into that 40-50 glob, market trend model had a nice move 3 to 5 days and starting to get a bit extended on this time frame. Hence why it kind of tells us we're more interested in nibbling to the long side right now, right, rather than getting fully positioned, just because the risk of a consolidation pullback is there right now. Continuing to move right, delta balance, everything looks fine. GEX ratio, yeah, again, 2.5 on the SPXP complex is a bit extended. Generally, that resides between 1.2 and 0.6, I think it is, based off our back testing. So, certainly overheated. Just another metric of consolidation warranted. For people on Discord in general, right, there's a lot of scams out there. Just be cognizant when people send you a friend request that you have mutual servers, especially the admins in the servers, people will mimic them and just alter something in their name. So just be very diligent out there. And Gamma Edge, right, we sell our products on our website and through WAP. We don't, manage money. We're not going to ask you for $5,000 for a master class or something like that. So please do not fall for it. And probably a lot of other services deal with the same issues. So with that PSA out of the way, going to SPXP. This is the 0 DT structure. So drunken sailor zone, again, top of it, 6,800. Again, key confluence there. 6840 to 50, right? Just that ton of, gamma glob, positioning glob, everything up there. It's going to take a lot to get through it, especially on a day where there's not a ton of volume. Generally, we want to see that intraday volume coming in, propelling us higher. Looking at it right now, that is just flat as a pancake right now. So, right, this is just a view of SPX 0 DT volume, call side green, put side red. Every 5 minutes, we bucket that volume and find the middle point of the distribution, which is a centroid. We plot that centroid. So that's what those dots are. And so every 5 minutes, right, over time from the open to now it's at 10:45, we can understand what the trend of behavior of the speculation has been. So right now, this is like a flat top pattern where you have puts moving 45 degrees higher. So there's really no urgency for any downside speculation here. And calls are super flat right now. So generally in a trending higher market, we see calls and puts both trending higher. So basically, imagine like the calls are would be parallel to the put line, and that's kind of what we see when we see kind of a nice trendy move higher. Right now, that's not the case with the call side. So yeah, that's not an endorsement, right, to short. But I would just expect sideways to higher super grinding action, especially again holiday shortened session. I think we close at like 1 o'clock. So just be cognizant of that, and we're kind of getting to the top of that speculation right now, and rarely do we shoot way through where that kind of upside speculation is on the session. So just keep that in mind. It looks like we're getting a little bit of buy ticks coming in. Market trend model so moving sideways to higher. So the bias should be higher, right? But at the end of the day, it just comes down to risk to reward, right? Are we in a favorable risk to reward position? That is ultimately what you would be telling yourself when you are structuring these trades. So going back, using the trades, using the levels, all that good stuff. So yeah, really getting above 40 and 50 are going to be key levels for us to get through the day, right? This is NetStat command, which is a summarization of 3D surface models. Right, if you're not familiar with 3D surface models, here's one. Like this is net gamma, right? It just looks like mountains. It's just obviously surface of the optimum structure. So you can just understand quickly kind of where those key levels are at, key sensitivity points are at by Greek influence. So right, we have delta, charm, gamma, vana. Looking at this, charm is fairly neutral. So we don't really have a ton of flows under us. Don't have a massive weight on top of us. It's basically, two opposing forces, which at the end of the day aren't doing much. Vana, not much of a factor here. So again, it's really just going to come down to market dynamics and do the buyers get very aggressive, which we'd see through the vol M command we just went over, market trend model, do sellers, kind of reverse the trend and start to get aggressive, or is it just a very, very choppy day? And if it's a choppy day, using the vol M command, not only do we understand what the trend of the market is, I don't know why it went all the top, but we also can understand like where price is likely not to go, right? So if you're selling premium, kind of understanding where our key levels are at 68.50, understanding speculation right now is not really happening above 68.50, maybe selling premium above, or get a little pullback and then selling premium below because we're still kind of biased to the upside above 6,800. So that's kind of a way that you can use this tool, and a lot of people in the community do use the tool. So yeah, if you guys have any other questions, that's kind of the spiel on the environment, from both the swing trading point of view and a, SPX 0DT point of view. Just going back to SPX 0DT real quick, we're at 68.40. So right, we're coming right into the bottom of that big gamma glob here. So, some kind of its seller or consolidation would be super, super unsurprising here. Oh, that's because that's using Thursday. Got it. God, it's confusing me. And then that's that tool. So I answer these questions. Do you have any Black Friday deals? Yeah. So we always no, we do not have a specific Black Friday deal, but we offer an annual membership, which is effectively 2 months free. So if that's something that you're interested in, then that is available to you. So let's go to pre-market prep. Marcelo, I know that Paul answered your question, but just getting back to it. Yeah, so we have 8.5 million. This was as of, the pre-market, 8.5 million in left-hand plane, right-hand plane, less than 500,000. So yes, is big, but as Paul noted, right, yeah, you have over 1 million contracts expiring today, which is quite big, right? Generally, I don't know, like 350 to 500, maybe 750, but over 1 million. So this is a rather large expiration today. Someone asked about Tesla. Yeah, no problem. Like that's why we're here, Marcel. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. But yeah, Marcel, to that point, when you are new, right? If you go to GameEdge.us, go Marcel. All right, nailed it. Go to GameEdge.us. You can go to free courses, or you can go to the blog. Free courses. If you sign up for the GameEdge Fast Pass, like this is kind of our authoritative education platform. Everything a paid member gets in terms of kind of understanding just the background of like why we think the options market is important, kind of why Gamma Edge is important, the options market influence, but then not only that, understanding kind of the theory, but then we take it a step further and make it actionable for you. And the way that looks is through individual write-ups of the various tools that we offer and how to use them with examples. So, all the different tools we walked through today, we have kind of deep dive articles into that. So that'd be our intraday volume analysis, like the volume tool, that'd be the net stat tool. That'd be the market trend model, right? We're not a kitchen sink, right? We don't have a bazillion different tools and tell you best of luck to you. We have, a handful of core tools that we like to use day to day, right? And the admin team is in the Discord most days for a lot of the day. So you have, access to us. We have a great community of people that more than willing to help. But again, our education platform is robust and 4 years in the making or whatever. So hopefully a year from now it's better than it is now, but right now it's the best it's ever been. So hopefully anyone on here finds that of use. So again, right, sitting right at 68.38, 68.40. Just going to a continuation of our SPX game plan, kind of in addition to the overall framework that we just laid out. We also, go into pretty good painstakingly detail of all the key levels we're watching and kind of if-then statements from each of those key levels. Right. The reason we do that is depending when you get at the screen, spot price may be at a certain spot. So you may have missed some key levels above or below us depending on price action, but there's still, opportunity to participate given that we see the action we want to from an if-then point of view. Right. If-then point of view is simply just like if this happens, then that. So if we break through 68.50, then we expect, 68.75 as an example, or 68.70, right, in this case. Or if we break below 6,800, then we expect 67.50 or whatever. Again, as an example, I don't know exactly what this said here, but that's just the way that we think about it, and something that we also often see with kind of newer traders or traders that are not successful is they don't really plan out their trades. They're just a lot more reactionary, kind of shooting from the hip rather than kind of having a robust game plan and executing on that game plan, or realizing that the game plan is not playing out and kind of just stepping away and coming back tomorrow. Yeah, eManic, we make that easy for you. We have one subscription for you that gets you access to the Discord, to the community, access to all the admin, access to the full education platform, and then gets you access to the web app. We find that's the best fit for a retail investor. We used to have, segmented subscriptions like web app only, Discord only, but something that we observed is that people were not having the full picture, and that was detrimental to their kind of use of Gamma Edge if you only had access to like one thing. So, in relatively speaking, right, to the value we think we provide and to other services out there, we're not expensive. And we have a risk-free policy where if you can't make $150 in your first month, then we'll refund you the money. So it really is risk-free to you. We'll caveat that, this is not like a quick win service by any measure. It's going to take a little bit of work from you, but we again have all the education that you do need to get up to speed quickly. You have access to us. We provide you with a link to book Zoom meetings. We have open mics on the weekend, all that good stuff. So we really try to help you succeed ultimately. Yeah. So again, we have the annual subscription, which offers you 2 free months, right? We're not running to really discount our monthly subscription. We work really hard. AWS is very expensive. Our data providers are very expensive, and again, we feel that $150 a month that ultimately you could have refunded if it just didn't work out for you is that. And if you need longer than your 2-week trial, again, you do get a 2-week trial as well. So that's the last thing I'll say on this before getting back to why you guys are here, which is the stock market. But again, you get a 2-week trial. If you need longer than 2 weeks, then just DM me, and I'm more than happy to extend that for you. That's not a problem. So once you guys be successful, right? We're just not here. Like, we don't make any money off of it, right? Everything we do goes back to the development and into AWS. So this is really a labor of love for us. Just want to be fair to you all. Yeah, no problem. So someone asked a question a long time ago. Yeah, if you're in the Discord, you can just find our handles and DM us, open a support ticket. Just open a support ticket. That's the easiest thing to do. Someone asked about Tesla. So let's get back to that. Look at the chart. So again, SPX flirting with 68.40. I know I'm getting sidetracked here, but I forgot to go over this right. 68.40, 0DT plus GEX laid out along with 68.45, 68.50, hence where that gamma glob is, that key positioning glob. Huge amount of convexity associated with that position. Yeah, and again, the kind of key thing to know is when we get up to the 68, 40, 50 region, like that's a key convexity spot. So, that's where those positions that were out of the money start to get, those contracts have rapidly appreciated in value. And from that point going forward, they do not have that same convexity that they were. So we often see that as an intraday monetization level. So that, again, something just to be cognizant of as we start to interact with this level. But if we're able to get above 50 and we flip all those deltas from kind of working against us to working in our favor, going back to the net stack command, right? Kind of flipping the gamma, the charm, all that good stuff to working in our favor, then that could kind of be a propellant to continuing to push us higher. And ideally we see large buying start to step in the market as well. But again, a shortened session today till 1 o'clock, I believe. Someone in the comments, right? You can say if it's 1 or noon. I forget which one it is, but yeah, I don't know what specific live vol products are you talking about? Yeah, it's 1 p.m. tonight. If you're talking about, like specifics of, all the volatility things and like volatility smiles and all that stuff, like I'm not an expert in volatility by any means, but no, I don't think we don't have plans right now in the development pipeline of getting super into the weeds of, various tools dissecting volatility. We do talk about it often, but no, we don't have, super granular tools on that. All right, so getting back to Tesla, basically looks like the overall market in terms of, just a rapid appreciation over the last week. It's above its P-trans level, which is good, right? That's kind of our key upside acceleration zone into the structure. Overhead level at 435 is plus GEX. Going to the structure really quick. Again, we can see the P-trans level here, right? From a DEX, from a delta point of view. 420 key level from a gamma point of view. 425 is going to be that key level. So from 420 to 425, that's going to be the zone that the bulls want to see hold. Then, as we were saying, 435 is a large, significant upside level right now, kind of upside target number 1. You can see a lot of gamma sitting there. Same thought process. Key kind of since. Why are those not all turned on? There we go. All right. Same thoughts though. 435 is kind of that key upside acceleration zone right now. Call dominate above the spot price. So, all else equal, we have speculation built out, it looks fine, right? So just be cognizant of that. From here, it's really just a matter of getting a good risk to reward entry in. And right, obviously the closer to 425, the better. But, if we're able to get above 435 and hold that, then, that's kind of a good risk level as well. Yeah, Paul said it best, right? There's a lot of other service providers that that focus solely on vol analysis. So you may, look to them. We kind of focus on, specifically options market positioning and how we can benefit from that. Yeah, we can get to IWM. Yeah, so IWM above P-Trans 247. I don't know what time frame Flucci you're talking about, but I'll just hit on all of them. From a swing trading point of view, looks just like the overall market, right? Had a massive move up since what was that? Last Thursday into Friday, above its overall P-Trans level right now. So that is good to see. Kind of upside overhead targets at 250. From an intraday point of view, right, we're above the pre-market highs, not quite above prior day high. Going to the structure itself, let's get to that. IWM. Yeah, 250. I think that's what I had on the script. Yep, 250. So again, key overhead level there to the downside. Really want to see 247, kind of the top of our DEX transition zone. We can call that, the top of the DEX transition zone too, just looking at the magnitude of strikes, 246, 247, maybe splitting hairs there, but kind of want to see that. And then below there, you can see that the transition zone is pretty wide, right? Like, a lot of back and forth in terms of put and call dominated strikes. That's the reason we have the transition zone, to easily identify that. So below 246, 247, not as attractive, up to 250. Can just see the kind of meaningfulness of that level right now. And then if we're able to progress above 250, then, potentially, we have upside speculation built out. We have, call dominate above the spot price, but we really just want to see that short-term convexity strike shift higher, ideally ahead of spot price. Have you done any studies of overnight returns in Nikkei and its impact on U.S. close or live market movements in Europe? No, E-Manic, we have done no studies of that, nor will Gamma Edge probably ever be doing studies of the correlation between international markets to U.S. markets. I'm sure there's someone else out there that could probably do that for you, but again, that's not our focus here. We're specifically focused on options markets, that being SPX options market in liquid names. We've been on about 30 minutes. Let me know if y'all have any other questions. If not, then, kind of holiday shortened day. Go enjoy it, maybe with your families or maybe in the Game Edge community or whatever else you have on this fine day. Yeah, man. To your point, Paul's been writing some commentary there too, right? There's an existing structure, in the American market, or whatever, ticker you're looking at, whether that be SPX or Apple or Tesla or whatever, that must be navigated, absent, the whatever influence there may be of overseas markets. I can just tell you, never once in our preparation over the 4 years of Game Edge have we considered what the CAC or the DAX has done in our pre-market prep analysis. So, all right, we can cut it there, right? 35 minutes in. Appreciate the time. Again, if you guys like what you heard, then, I'm going to point you to Gamma Edge and our free resources there. Or, if you have a desire to come check out the community, then free 2-week trial. You can sign up for it through gameedge.us as well. Whatever floats your boat there. So again, appreciate the time on this holiday Friday. Hopefully you all got some value out of it, and we will probably not be back on today, but starting next Monday, right, we will see you all then. And obviously if you're in the Discord and the community, we'll be back in there throughout into the close too. So thank you all very much, and we'll talk to you later.